So let me start with this analogy. Let's say that you get one free car and you get to go pick it out off of the lot. It doesn't matter how much it is, what type of car it is, like you get to pick your free car. The only thing that you need to pay for is its maintenance and the gas that you put into it. And then I tell you, well, there's a catch. And the catch is that this is the one free car that you get for the rest of your life. Well, that's the deal with your body. You get one body for this entire lifetime. And when you think about it like that, how would you feed your body? How would you maintain it? How would you work out? How would you let it sleep? How would you move it? You know, this body that you have is actually a gift. You've been given a gift, and a lot of us take advantage of it.
Welcome to the Dr. Ashley Show.
One of our clients at PhD Weight Loss shared a video with one of our PhD nutritionists, and the nutritionist came to me and said, "Oh my gosh, Dr. Ashley, what do you think about this video?" So it was like 9 o'clock at night. I was heading to bed and I click on this video, which I shouldn't have. And oh my gosh, up popped this pretty lean guy. His name, I think he goes by Magic Mikey. And he's literally consuming over 10,000 calories of McDonald's in one sitting. And all you can do is see his head kind of chest up and this big desk filled with all different items of McDonald's. And I could not believe my eyes. And I started to have like this really strong reaction. For me, I started salivating like in a nauseous way. Felt like I was going to vomit. I think because I knew what all of those foods, those crappy foods contain, so much sodium and salt and vegetable oils and just terrible. I was feeling so sick for the guy eating all of that food. And you could hear him crunch the hash browns and crunch the chicken nuggets. Oh my gosh. So there's a clip of the video here, if you're watching it on YouTube, that you can see below. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, then come over to YouTube because you got to see this guy eating all of this McDonald's food. And the crazy thing about it is that he had 2.2 million views of him eating McDonald's. Here I am trying to create positive, massive impact in the lives of others. And this guy had 2.2 million views of people watching him eat McDonald's. And so I call my husband and I'm like, "Doug, come in here and see this video of this guy crunching along and eating this food." And both of us, we just couldn't turn it off because we were stuck on how this guy can even fit 10,000 calories of food in his body. And then that he's eating this junk crap food, this fast food that is not serving his body. No matter if he's lean or not, his body cannot tolerate this load of crap stuff. And we just couldn't get over it. So I don't know if you've ever seen one of these videos before. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment, share with me. This is a brand new thing for me. And I started to read the comments in this video and come to find out, I guess this is, and I'm probably not pronouncing this right. I spent way too long searching the web to pronounce what these people are. They're called mukbangs. I'm sure I did not do the name justice. So if you can teach me how to pronounce it in a comment on YouTube below, the pronunciation of mukbang for dummies is what I need. So basically this idea comes from Korea, and it's a Korean word that I'm not pronouncing right. And it means a broadcast of eating. So there are these folks all around the world eating tons and tons of food, and people just tune in and watch them eat. It's the weirdest thing. And actually it was banned in China because they think that it shows gluttony and food waste, which, you know, is true. I can't believe that it's banned, but really interesting. And the comments were also really intriguing to me because some people were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tempted. This makes me so hungry. I want to go eat this food. Thank you for eating it and showing me. And I'm going to go out and get some fast food." That's not a good outcome, I would say, of these folks. But then there were a ton of positive comments of people who have struggled with eating disorders, and watching him eat the food with such love and compassion toward himself made them think of food in a positive way. And then specifically for my client who shared this with my nutritionist, said that it helped him overcome desires to eat this food and helped with cravings. And I saw lots of comments of people saying they were on a quote unquote diet and they would watch this and not need to eat the food. It is interesting. I've done previous episodes on mindset and how you think about food and how it impacts your body physiology and the hormones that you're secreting as a result of how you think about food. I also wonder, and there should be a study out on this, I don't know if there is one, on what happens when you watch someone eat food, but I would think that if you're watching this guy eat the food, your body's probably secreting either hormones that are going to make you hungry or hormones that are going to make you full because you see him getting satisfied and so you're getting satisfied as a result. Or you feel nauseous as a result, which was my experience, my outcome of watching that. So this episode actually isn't about the psychology of a mukbang, but I would be really interested on how you felt when you watched that clip. What did it make you feel like? Were you nauseous? Were you satisfied? Were you tempted? Interesting there. But what we're actually talking about today is the impact of processed food, of fast food, and if you are addicted to it, how to break the cycle. So let me start with this analogy. Let's say that you get one free car and you get to go pick it out off of the lot. It doesn't matter how much it is, what type of car it is, like you get to pick your free car. Taxes are paid for, everything's paid for. The only thing that you need to pay for is its maintenance and the gas that you put into it. And then I tell you, well, there's a catch. And the catch is that this is the one free car that you get for the rest of your life. Well, that's the deal with your body. You get one body for this entire lifetime. And when you think about it like that, how would you feed your body? Would you feed it all of this crap food that Magic Mikey was ingesting? Would you feed it processed food? What kind of fuel would you give it? How would you maintain it? How would you work out? How would you let it sleep? How would you move it? You know, this body that you have is actually a gift. You've been given a gift, and a lot of us take advantage of it. We don't respect it. We don't take self-ownership. We don't take responsibility. And the food that you give it is your responsibility. How you take care of this gift that you've been given that does amazing things. Does magic for us every day. So let's talk about why processed food and fast food is not the type of fuel that you want to give your body. So number one, it is loaded in excess with all of these additives like sodium and sugar and quick reacting processed carbohydrates, because this is what makes these foods addictive. This is what makes these foods hyper palatable just for your binging pleasure. And they're really hard to say no to. They have artificial additives. They're super low in nutrients. The additives can cause behavioral problems in kids. And if they cause them in kids, they can cause them in adults. They're low in vitamins and minerals and fiber. There's actually an article published in 2019 of a young boy who went blind because he lived off of Pringles, white bread, and French fries. And he did that since the age of 14, and he literally went blind as a result of it. So he was normal BMI. So I'm not talking about this to you if you have excess fat weight. I'm talking about this to you no matter what your weight is, no matter what your BMI is, even if Magic Mikey is lean. And I know this is his job and what he does, but eating this food is not a healthy way to go about fueling your body. It decreases satiety because of all of these additives that are in there, the hyperpalatability of it decreases satiety. And so you have the propensity to overeat, and then you overeat in calories and load because, again, they're not satiating. They disrupt your gut health and they impact in a negative way your digestion. They also cause blood sugar spikes. Like I said, they've got more processing, so the carbohydrates are more easily metabolized, and as a result, they spike blood sugar. And as a result, when your blood sugar is spiked, like I've mentioned in many previous episodes, it causes the body to secrete insulin. And insulin is this fat storage hormone. And so all of these foods that you are eating that spike your blood sugar then pummel the food that you're eating into the fat stores. You're at higher risk of prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. So it does not do good things for your health. And then we all know that the stats are concerning. I'm going to read some of the stats to you. So processed foods make up more than 50% of total calorie intake in the US. This means sugary snacks, packaged meals, fast foods, pizza, French fries. People who consume more processed foods are 50% more likely to be overweight and obese. Processed foods increase heart disease, and heart disease is the leading cause for death in the US. Last year alone, there were 655,000 people who died from heart disease. Processed foods increase type 2 diabetes, and these ultra-processed foods contribute to more than 90% of added sugar intake in our diet, which is massive. And we know that these specific foods negatively impact mental health with significantly increased risks and rates of depression and anxiety in those who eat more processed and fast foods. So when I'm talking about processed foods, I want you to know which ones I'm talking about. So I mean soft drinks, fruit juice, energy drinks, sweet tea, potato chips, cheese puffs, cookies, fast food like burgers and fries and pizza, frozen dinners, instant noodles. It doesn't matter if they are organic or not. It doesn't matter if all these items are all natural. Cheese puff is a cheese puff and it's not good for you. Breakfast cereals, Raisin Bran. I shared this story in a previous show, but Raisin Bran is actually one of the most highest sugar food items that you can consume. So I was on a trip and I was on the tarmac going into the airplane, and there are these three ladies talking about how they eat really healthy. And there was a young lady and two older ladies, and the young lady was really proud that she ate quote unquote older people cereal, and she was saying it was Raisin Bran. And she said she had Raisin Bran and skim milk and bananas for breakfast every day. And usually I can contain myself when I'm in big public spaces with a lot of people, but here I could not, and it just burst out of me. And I said, Raisin Bran is not a healthy cereal. And so I've done the math here, but basically 1 1/4 cups of Raisin Bran, you're getting 9.75 teaspoons of sugar, 10 teaspoons of sugar in one serving of Raisin Bran. Then you add 1 cup milk, and lots of us still think that skim milk is healthier, which it's not. Skim milk is just higher in sugar and we don't really need it at all. But in 1 cup of milk, there is 12 grams of sugar. That's about 3 teaspoons of sugar. So now you're at 13 teaspoons of sugar if you've had 1 serving of Raisin Bran with 1 cup of milk. And then let's say you want to add fruit, because we've been told that all fruit is healthy, and you add a medium banana. That's 6 teaspoons of sugar, 19 teaspoons of sugar in that breakfast, which is not a healthy breakfast. So if you eat that and you get one thing from this episode, is to stop the cereal consumption for breakfast. Other processed foods would be processed meats, sweetened yogurts, even vanilla is a flavor, and those sweetened yogurts have just as much sugar as like Haagen-Dazs ice cream. And then those ready-to-eat desserts are all processed foods. So the items in the food themselves, in processed and fast foods, are not healthy for you, but the practices around fast food also aren't great. There's factory farming where the animals are overcrowded, unsanitary conditions. There's animals given huge amounts of hormones and antibiotics to accelerate growth. There's lots of chickens that can't even walk because their legs can't support the size and the speed at which the breasts grow. That can't be good for us. And then there's a lot of unsafe food handling to operate at the speed at which they do. So really, we need to break the cycle. And in order to break the cycle, because it's not good for any of us, we need the right strategies and the determination behind it. So now I want to help you break the cycle. So number 1 is you want to recognize the issue and then understand the triggers. Is it stress, boredom? Is it comfort, ease? Are your friends pulling you into eating this stuff when you know you don't want to? And I have 2 stories around this. So I have a previous client, Jeff, and he was addicted to Taco Bell, and he knew it. He had 80 pounds to drop. And every night he would go to Taco Bell, and he would either do it for dinner, or he would start playing video games and then get the notion and the urge to go get it. And he would leave his house at midnight, go to Taco Bell. He had one in particular where he said they made the best food. And he would get a whole bunch of Taco Bell, bring it home, and then play video games into the wee hours of the night. And so I asked him, first of all, what is your trigger? And he said driving by the Taco Bell on the way home from work was his biggest trigger. So he actually had to find a different way to get home so he wouldn't see that Taco Bell. And then I also asked him, do you need to go cold turkey and just rip off the Band-Aid, or do we need to slowly and gradually release this intake of Taco Bell? For him, he needed to go cold turkey. He knew that he couldn't just eat a little bit of it. It's kind of like if you were an alcoholic, can you go to a bar and sit at the bar and order a club soda, or is it just too tempting for you? Either way, it has nothing to do with you or discipline or willpower. It's just how you're wired, and you have to understand what's going to benefit you most. So another story for you, when I was getting my PhD in nutrition, it's a bit hypocritical of me, but I would go to Wendy's. And it was when my husband and I were doing long distance. He was finishing up his residency, or actually he was starting his residency in orthopedic surgery, and I was finishing up my PhD. So we had to live long distance, and I was driving from Virginia. I went to Virginia Tech, and I was driving up to Columbus, Ohio, where he was. And it was a 5.5-hour drive. And on each drive that I would do, I would so look forward to going to Wendy's and getting a cookie dough blizzard. As if you guys have listened to my previous episodes, you know my trigger food is cookie dough ice cream. It's not my fault. I'm just wired to want to overeat that stuff. And so I would go and I would get a blizzard, and I would look forward to it more. Don't tell my husband, but more than seeing him. I just really wanted this cookie dough blizzard. I would go and I would look forward to it. And I hate to be a slave to anything. So if I feel like I am driven to need to eat something and it's just calling my name, then something is wrong. And I realized that I was addicted to these things. So I had to think about it. Okay, this is not good. It's calling my name. I really want to get it. And I look forward to these drives just to get the Wendy's cookie dough blizzard. So for me, it was cold turkey. Like I just didn't need to wean myself off of it. And instead I subbed out healthier alternatives. I brought different club sodas and different sparkling waters that I liked. I had different snacks that I still enjoyed that kept me full and actually served my body. So you do need to think about, is it this gradual reduction that you're going to do, or is it cold turkey? For me, for a lot of my clients, it's cold turkey. But share your feedback. What is it for you? Gradual release, or is it cold turkey? Remember that nature abhors a vacuum. So you can't just not do the item. You've got to replace it. And that's what we did for Jeff. We replaced it with healthier snacks so that he could fill that void and fill it with different behaviors as well. And then make sure that you're staying hydrated, because oftentimes when we're thirsty, we think that we're hungry. We start to develop different cravings when really all we need is something to drink. And then plan and prepare. Planning and preparing is the key to success. Even for our clients who go through the PhD weight loss plan, they then enter into maintenance. And with maintenance, we support people for free for life. But still, people have to have the plans in place. And so I had a client text me the other day, and she said that maintenance was challenging for her during the weeks where she didn't plan. And planning is the ticket to success. And it does take a long time to get that to become a habit where it's just who you are and it's what you do. Now, the other night, last week, I was going to bed, getting ready for bed, and it was about 9:30, and I was talking to my husband, Doug, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to read. Thank goodness to Audible, or else I would not be able to get books in. I get lots of books in through Audible, so thank you, Audible. But I really want to sit and read a real book. And I told him, I said, how do people fit in time to read? I mean, when am I going to read? And he goes, well, you've got a plan for it. And I said, yeah, but still, it's difficult. I think about planning. And he goes, well, you're not going to find it under a rock. I was like, some swear words came out. And then he's like, you're not going to trip over it. And I tackled him because I was pissed, but he was right? You're not going to trip over the healthy foods in your meal plan for the next day. You're not going to find it under a rock. So I told him, I'm going to have to use this in one of my episodes, because it is really true. If I want to read, I've got to plan it, and I've got to take the time to plan. If you want to eat healthy, if you want to avoid and break the cycles that you've been locked into, you've got to plan. Remember that your environment is always stronger than your willpower. Always. So you've got to create that strong environment to support you. And then mindful eating, be present, be fully engaged. Have the mindset that healthy food is sexy. Healthy food is indulgent and satisfying. When you eat this healthy meal, tell yourself that you've had enough, because if you don't think that that's true, you're going to find that you're always hungry, you're always craving, you're not feeling satisfied, and that healthy food isn't going to seem as exciting as that unhealthy food. Find healthy substitutions. So instead of going to Taco Bell, find a different alternative. And I'm going to provide you with specific places if you have to go to something that's fast food and quick dining out. At the end of this episode, I'm going to give you specifically what you can order that should set you up for success. Get support. Surround yourself by those who raise you up. So I have a business coach, and he's changed my life. His name is Bedros Keuilian, and he does the Bedros Keuilian Show. If you haven't tuned in, you should. It's great for motivation. But he tells the story often about crabs, and you'll have to go and listen to some of his previous episodes because he tells the story much better than I do. But basically the gist of the story is that he was looking down into this big bucket of little crabs, and all the crabs were trying to get up to the top. And there's one little crab that kept climbing up to the top. He almost made it to freedom. And then all of the crabs lined up together and grabbed him and pulled him back down. And he was saying that in his life, he realized finally that he was this crab trying to always get up, trying to level up each time, but all of the people around him kept pulling him down. All of his friends, his community, what he thought was his support system kept pulling him down back into this gridlock in this bucket of hell, basically. So you've got to think about yourself, and are the people who surround you pulling you down? Or are they lifting you up and actually pushing you up out of the bucket so that you can find freedom and you can find relief? And then celebrate your progress, self-compassion. It doesn't have to be perfect. You might slip up, but the most important thing is that you get back up, you get on the horse, and you keep trying. That's really all that matters with weight loss and life in general, is you get back up and you keep trying. So some healthier options. We at PhD Weight Loss have a dining out guide, and it's 184 pages. All the restaurants you can think of and what to order for healthy alternatives to what maybe you've ordered in the past, but I want to give you a good selection. So here we go. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, do leave a comment below on restaurants that you go to and what you order to provide some tips for people who might be reading the comments. Or if you do go to different restaurants and you need some help, leave a comment below. That's what I'm here for. So let's say you go to Buffalo Wild Wings. You can get the naked tender wings, no bread, and then dip it with a blue cheese dressing. And you can get the carrots and celery and dip it in the blue cheese dressing. So if you go to Chick-fil-A, you can get the bacon and egg biscuit with no biscuit. Or you could get the grilled chicken nuggets and a side salad, just no sweet sauce. You want to make sure that the sauce doesn't have any sugar in it. So it could be a hot sauce, or like the tangy barbecue sauce, or blue cheese is really your best bet. If you go to Chipotle, get salad bowl with no beans or corn or rice, and get the meat on top of it. Guacamole's fine, cheese if you tolerate it, salsa, whatever kind of full fat dressing, but nothing sweet. So oftentimes, you'll get the wrap thinking that it's light, but the wrap, oh my gosh, is so heavy and so many carbohydrates. So do away with that. And then sometimes we think we're doing well by getting the bowl, but the bowl, you're going to get just as much of the carbs and the heaviness from the beans, the corn, and the rice. So you're better off with the salad base. If you go to Chili's, you can get the ancho salmon, no rice, and extra veggies. If you go to Starbucks, my favorite is an Americano. And then I ask for a little bit of steamed heavy cream, and it makes it taste just like a latte. And then you don't get all the sugar from the milks and such. If you want a treat and you want to do a sugar-free syrup once in a while, you could do that. I also really love the sous vide egg bites. They're great. Instead of, say, the sandwich with the English muffin, you're better off with the egg bites instead. If you go to Five Guys, just get a burger, no bun. If you go to Jimmy John's, get the wrap, but put it in lettuce, which they have available instead of the wrap. If you go to KFC, choose grilled chicken, green beans, and a Caesar salad. So that's the gist. Again, share with me around fast food. Do you go? If you do go, what do you get? If you used to go, how did you break the cycle? What do you think about the mukbang? I mean, give me your honest truth. We all have different feelings around it, and I want to learn from you. I hope that you got great value from this episode in general, though. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, please leave a review. And if you are watching this on YouTube, leave a comment, join the community, subscribe, and remember that you got to step up to make the change. Lead with your heart, train your mind, and don't negotiate with your body. See you next time.